Hey everyone, CBC News. Boosting the economy from the bottom up. Why minimum wage hikes are a good thing. If you boost minimum wages, you are boosting the economy from the bottom up, economists argue. So now they're trying to present and put forth the narrative that there is no negative consequences or effects, I should say, that'll happen as a result of just arbitrarily telling people that, or employers, that you have to pay your employees X amount. Everybody, regardless of, how competent they are, how hardworking, their work ethic. I mean, like central planning model, as you're saying, but they're trying to defend it. These are central planners and CBC. I mean, think about it. They rely on the theft and or slash wealth redistribution model, right? Forced collectivism, forced subjugation, right? Basically full-on socialism almost as far as the model, as far as economics when it comes to CBC. They rely on that, so it's like, yeah. You wonder why their opinion and the people presented as such, and this is Pete Evans, senior writer for CBCnews.ca, so you might want to take his opinion with a grain of salt. Critics of Ontario's recently announced move to raise the province's minimum wage to $15 an hour says it will hurt businesses and lead to job losses, but an analysis of more than 7 decades of data out of the U.S. suggests the opposite more likely to happen. So first of all, what a false narrative that they're already presenting. So even in the U.S., if you're talking about the fact that they, you can fuck with people all the time, and the fact that they'll bob their head up and actually, make themselves better in spite of it, doesn't mean that, oh, look, I fuck with them, and they came back even stronger after I fuck with them. That's not an excuse or a reason or a pretense to keep fucking with them, right? It just means that the American people have great resolve and they have the ability to adapt, right? It's the American psychology. It's the philosophy. It's something that was entrenched and built into the foundation of the founding fathers that came as a result of the Enlightenment era that gave the people a very good, healthy psychology and economic and social astuteness. But because they're so good at it, that these central planner fucks say, oh, look, we fucked with them for decades, and look, they still bounce back. We knock them down, but look, they're bouncing back. So, hey, look, no problem. What the fuck, right? But even just that, even without taking that into account, every time they raise the wages, what's happened? What's happened? Arbitrarily, without actual proper market balances and fundamentals playing a key role in that. But if you just raise someone's wages, right? So a perfect example, going from in Ontario from what is it, just over $11 an hour to 15, so $4 an hour. Yes, you will give those people more spending and purchasing power. But don't you think these corporations and the governments are going to be like, oh, look, they got more money to spend. Let's raise taxes. Let's raise prices. You don't think that's going to happen, huh? You don't believe that's happened? Well, just look through the history of economics in any of our Western developed capitalist countries. You see what happens when you arbitrarily raise wages through the central planning model. Natural wages, yes, that's a total, just like, if I hired an employee and they were very much more productive in making me more wealthy, I want to return that for them, and then they become even more productive because I return that to them. That's a win-win in every situation. But central planning government's not the same because it's a full-on collective. So yes, there are some people that are efficient, and we understand I've heard studies that said 10% of any workforce might provide up to half of the productivity. So yes, the people who are productive are going to have to pick up more slack, but the people that don't want to pick up the slack, that just want to be the lazy fucks, don't want to do anything, they get to benefit from that increased wage too. So in a position, let's say you have 20 employees that are now in Ontario making $11 an hour. Well, if they're making 15, maybe 2 of those 20 are not only they're already probably producing more than that $15 an hour as far as productivity. But now the people that weren't even producing the $11, now they're getting 15, so they're getting more income, and they're not even producing $11 worth of income, productivity. So you see the discrepancy there? And then when the person that's making 15 that's super productive and looking at these fuckers that are making the same money as them, I tell you, I can't imagine how that situation wouldn't play out where you're like, why is this fucker making the same as me and they don't do shit? And I'm fucking way harder working, way more efficient, way better at my job. Why are they making the same as me? Oh, that's the minimum wage. It's the floor. Sorry, that's the way it's got to be done. And another aspect of that too is Let's say people right now that are making like say 16, 17 bucks an hour in Ontario in the construction trades, which is a kind of average going for like your labor, which is a hard work. Those are your hardest working people really at the bottom of the ladder, but they're hard working people. So let's say you're making 16 bucks an hour, 17 bucks an hour in the construction industry, in the trades, in the entry level. Well, now some asshole that flips a burger, right? Or some dipshit that does basically nothing. Now they're making what, like a buck below you an hour. They used to be $5, $6 or $4 or $5 an hour below you. So you're at least at that stage of the game, it's like, well, I work a lot harder, but at least I'm being rewarded for it, right? Now, with minimum wage increases to the tune of almost $4 an hour, now the people that are not productive at all are going to be making almost as much as you do, even though you produce so much more in the economy. Like I say, central planning and the discrepancies that introduces into the society at large, it's devastating. And it's not that I would ever suggest, that's another thing. These leftists, these collectors might try to say, oh, these right wingers or even some libertarians, oh, look, they just don't like people. They're all about the corporations and the businesses. They don't care about the little people. I'm all about caring about the little people. Matter of fact, I am one of the little people. So of course, I would think it would be great. I believe that actually, adjusted for inflation and the kind of fucking shit, the amount of fucking money that the central planners are printing and all that stuff, yes, people should be making at the very minimum $15 an hour. But like I said, it should only be those that are producing to that point. You can't just make an arbitrary number and make it work for everybody. That's the equality of outcome that's not fair to the people, like I say, that are most efficient and most productive among us. It's great for the people that are parasites or losers or inept or don't want to do shit or just want to fucking show up, put in their hours of the day and not really work hard to be a productive member of society or produce anything of value for their employer, right? So it's a detriment, and don't let anyone try to fucking demean people like I say, libertarians or classical liberals or even genuine conservatives or people, critical thinkers, independents, people that are willing to stand up and say, listen, minimum wage is just a stupid idea. Can we get back to basics once again? Pay people for the productive capacities and what they are genuinely worth. You can't make just across the board because it's trying to suggest that everyone are robots like we're the Borg, like we're just all the exact same, right? Not even close. When have you ever seen that in your personal life? You've never seen any time in your personal life where you could take 10 people, whether it's your friends, family, co-workers, neighbors, anyone, people, put 10 people, line them up, and you know damn well, no, this guy is way harder working, this girl's way harder working, this fucker's a slave, or this fucker's lazy as shit, this fucker never wants to. You know the discrepancies that exist in the human realm, in the human world. So a minimum wage, like I say, trying to create that floor, I mean, it sounds good in theory, but in practice, and that's another thing, even if historically jobs weren't lost and people figured out ways to just like if someone robbed me tomorrow, I could say I'm poor, but maybe I would fucking work harder and accumulate more money to make up and compensate for my losses. But does that mean that my losses don't mean anything? No, it doesn't. Just become, just because I was smart enough or wise enough or efficient enough to try to make up for my losses doesn't mean I should fucking have to suffer further and further losses just because I'm good at making up for it, right? No, of course not, for fuck's sakes. Stop allowing these central planners to control and dictate every aspect of our social lives and our economic lives, because as you do so, it only works out to be that race to the bottom. And that race to the bottom, there's no real winners. Well, there's a few, but those people, they stand off the side. They're not in the race at all. They're just the ones that are dictating, laying out. They're laying out, there's a race, but they're laying out the path, but they only want you to travel. They're going to stay in the back there and like, yeah, you go ahead. Matter of fact, at the end of that path, there's a cliff. Oh, watch out for that. I'll be back here watching you to fall off. Run off it. It's a shame. It's Canadian Libertarian. I love liberty.